maybe you from the 1970s when the Los Angeles Rams was known as the Prison Foursome because of that defensive line. Or maybe you in the city of St. Louis, the gateway to the Midwest, where the greatest show on turf brought home the first ever Super Bowl championship. Or maybe you in the here and now with the Rams back in LA, winners of Super Bowl 56. It doesn't matter because when it comes to this, it's all about the Los Angeles Rams. Horns up, Rams South. Time to talk Rams football.
And ladies and gentlemen, children of all ages, and Ram nations around the world, welcome to your brand new edition of Ramily Talk, Ram Nation East Coast Station, horns up every single week. That's right, the Playmakers in the building on another Thursday, August 21st, 2025. Thank y'all for tuning in. We continue the season preview. We do got some news on QB1, one Matthew Stafford, which I'm going to get into. We're going to look at weeks 11 through 14 as we continue to preview the Rams schedule. But before we get into the show today, thank y'all for tuning in. Thank y'all for being great supporters of Ramily Talk. I really appreciate it. Thank you. Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, iHeartRadio, wherever else you can find podcasts, you can find Ramily Talk, whatever platform that you love. Leave a rate, leave a review, comments, like, share. Just share this out and let Ram Nation know that there is a podcast that all Rams can listen to that will be objective, that will keep it 100, and say how it is. So I really do appreciate y'all's support. Thank you very much. Now, if you want to watch the videos of the show, YouTube, the Playmakers blog YouTube channel. And when you do, go over there, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell. So anytime we post Ram content on the YouTube channel, you'll be notified. You'll be the first ones to know, and you can see what content is out there from us about the Los Angeles Rams. All right. Now, real quickly, let's look at week 2 of the preseason. The battle for Los Angeles as the Chargers and the Rams played each other at SoFi Stadium. Rams come out on top 23-22. You had Stetson Bennett, the star of the game, 28 for 40 passing, 324 passing yards, 3 touchdowns to 1 interception. Hakeem Hunter had 15 carries for 55 yards. Cody Sizer had 13 carries for 48 yards. Not much in the run game. We did have 100 yards rushing, though, but not much going on there. Bernard Presley, 6 catches, 102 yards. Touchdown catches were caught by Mario Williams, True Edwards, and Konata Mufia. Those were your 3 touchdown catches for the Rams. Defense was solid. Trey Lance was only 7 for 15 for 121 yards, no touchdowns, no interceptions. Tyler Heineke was 6 for 11 for 56 yards passing. We did see Justin Herbert for a series of 2. Wasn't much going there. We made the Chargers kick a lot of field goals. Okay. That I do like. 9 points from Cameron Dicker, 3 for 3 on his field goals. I do like that. We gave up a touchdown on a punt return to Luke Grimes. Don't like that. But defensively, we only gave up 1 touchdown. Gave up one touchdown. That was on the ground. That was on the ground to Raheem Sanders. But that's it. Defense was solid. Defense was great. Special teams, we probably got to work on a little bit more. Can't give up punt returns for touchdowns. Can't give up kick returns. You know, we got to make sure our coverage team is solid and solidified, and what the case may be. But overall, defense was solid. Offense was solid. Even without our starters, I like where we're going. I do like where we're going. So let's continue to improve for the guys who's trying to make the roster, as our starters will be resting. Uh, our final preseason game is this Saturday, 1 p.m. on the East Coast, 10 a.m. on the West Coast, as the Rams head to Cleveland to take on the Browns. And that game will be shown live on the NFL Network. So if you have NFL Network, you'll be able to watch it live. It will depend on where you're at. Final preseason game, and then they have to cut the roster down to the 53-man roster by Tuesday. And then after that, it's all gears for week one of the regular season, which will be a week and a half away once the rosters are cut down from 90 something to 53. And we will go over the roster. We will go over the projected starters and stuff like that next week when we close out our season preview show. But overall, pretty good. Don't have much to gripe with, even though everybody don't have much to gripe with anything that's preseason unless we get injuries. But that's something I don't have to worry about because Sean McVay doesn't play the starters during preseason, so that always works. Now, let's get to some good news because Matthew Stafford did practice in back-to-back days, which was awesome to see. Let me hit the article. Mr. Stu Jackson, who is the main source that I use for any types of articles that I go through, says Rams continue to take things day by day with Matthew Stafford, but Sean McVay says quarterback is trending in a positive direction. After practicing 2 days in a row, Willie Lampkin, the fourth, to miss a few weeks after injuring knee and spraining ankle versus Chargers. This is what Stu Jackson wrote on the Rams website. The Rams are still following a day-to-day approach with Matthew Stafford, but the quarterback is trending in the positive direction after practicing 2 consecutive days. Just like he did Monday, Stafford participated in both individual and team drills in Tuesday's practice. McVay says Stafford looked good Tuesday and better than yesterday. Sean McVay said, quote, "The reality is we're trying to get our hands on this and get him feeling as good as possible. Bats can be a volatile thing. This is definitely positive progression. But what I think you want to be able to do is say, hopefully, after a few minutes, settle down. Am I still feeling good? Do I wake up tomorrow still feeling good? And those are the steps that I think are the appropriate measures to be able to take. But it certainly is trending in a positive direction for us, close quote. It's good to have Stafford practicing. It really is good to have Stafford practicing. For Lampkin, out for a few weeks after ankle knee injury sustained versus Chargers. McVay said Tuesday rookie offensive lineman Willie Lampkin IV will miss a few weeks due to an ankle sprain and a knee injury sustained against the Chargers on Saturday. Lampkin exited last Saturday's game due to injury early in the fourth quarter. Coach said, quote, "He got a bad ankle sprain. He's also tough. It's kind of a knee and ankle. He got I think it was his PCL. So he's so damn tough. And so it'll be a few weeks for him." Close quote. So you got an injury to one of our rookies. So like take some time, get that knee and ankle rested up. You know, we're still working on some things. We're still trying to get things going in a positive direction here. Good that Stafford is practicing multiple days. Now can we do 3 straight and can we get it going? Maybe give him a day off, probably today or Friday. Give him a day off. Say, all right, you look good. Let's relax. We got a game Saturday. Let's make sure we keep you as ready as possible for week 1 when we host the Houston Texans on September 7th. Let me think. Opening night is what, the 4th, 5th? Yep, September 7th. So make sure we get that covered. and get ready to roll. Now that we got that in and out the way, let's head back into our season preview because we are in weeks 11 through 14. And I think what I left off at, if I remember correctly, I have us at 6-3 going into week 11. Okay, for those who want to recap of what I have us in week 6 to 10, losing to the Ravens on the road at Baltimore, going to London and beating Jacksonville Jaguars in week 7, coming home week 9 after a bye week in week 8, beating the Saints, and then traveling to Santa Clara and taking the L. So 2-2 between week 6 to 10 because our bye week's week 8. That will put us at 6-3. This week we have the Seattle Seahawks, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, Carolina Panthers, and the Arizona Cardinals from weeks 11 through 14. First meeting with the Seattle Seahawks. It will be at home week 11. A nice 4:25 kickoff on the East Coast, 1:25 in the West Coast. Seahawks was second in the NFC behind us. They was trying to win the division, but came up short. Geno Smith, who is no longer there, he's now the quarterback for the Las Vegas Raiders. He completed 70.4% of his passes, throwing for over 4,300 yards, 21 touchdowns, and 15 interceptions. Kenneth Walker III, who might be in some trade talks from what I'm hearing, could be traded to the Cincinnati Bengals for one Trey Henderson. That's been the latest update between the Henderson Bengals thing that I have heard. Could be, hope not. But Walker III had 153 carries for 573 yards, 7 touchdowns. He also had 299 receiving yards with a touchdown in 12 games. DK Metcalf, who is no longer there, he was traded to the Pittsburgh Steelers, had 66 catches, 992 receiving yards with 8 touchdowns. The new number one receiver in Seattle, Jackson Smith-Njigba, 100 catches for over 1,100 receiving yards and 6 touchdowns. His new quarterback is now one Sam Darnold, who we know very well from the Minnesota days, in which we beat him up twice. The Thursday night game in LA, and then the wild card round when we had to go play that game at Arizona. And then they also re-signed defensive tackle Lenore Williams. So we split the series season with the Seahawks. Both teams winning on the road. Week 9, we went to them, beat them in overtime. That was the Cameron Kinch's coming out party when he had 2 interceptions. One he took all the way back to the house. And then DeMarcus Robinson gets the game-winning touchdown pass from Matthew Stafford to win that game in overtime in Seattle. And then we played them again in the final week of the season where we rested our starters. No Matthew Stafford, no Kerryon Williams. The rest of our starters, Jimmy G and the boys put up a hell of a fight. They went down 30-25 to Seattle and LA. That brings us to this. And we will defend home field this time. We will beat Seattle Seahawks. And we will move to 7-3 on the season. We'll move to 7-3 on the season. We will beat Seattle. There's nothing else to it. Okay. Yeah, you got Sam Darnold. They'll make some things happen. We'll see what happens with Kenneth Walker before then, because this is week 11. I'm pretty sure the trade deadline will be passed by then. So we'll see if Seattle makes any trade. We'll see if we'll make any trades. But I like our chances to defend home turf this go around with our starters playing and handle business at home. From there, it is Sunday Night Football in week 12, where the Baker Mayfield and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers come to SoFi Stadium. This will be the first meeting with us and Baker Mayfield since he played for us 3 years ago. So this should be interesting. The NFC South champions, Tampa Bay Buccaneers, went 10-7. They were defeated by the Washington Commanders in the wild card round in Tampa. Baker Mayfield completed 71.4% of his passes last year, threw for 4,500 yards, 41 touchdowns, 16 interceptions. He also had 3 rushing touchdowns to go with 378 rushing yards. Bucky Irvin, their dynamic duo for Tampa Bay, led by one Bucky Irvin from Oregon, 207 carries, 613 rushing yards with 8 touchdowns. The other running back was Shard White, 144 carries, 613 rushing yards, 3 touchdowns. They both did some damage in the passing game, with Irvin having close to 400 yards, both coming close to 400 yards receiving, but it was White with 6 receiving touchdowns. So we got to pay attention to that. Mike Evans had another 1,000-yard season to add to his luxurious career with 74 catches, 11 touchdowns. We'll see if Chris Godwin would be back around this time for Tampa Bay. They did re-sign him, so we'll see if he will be available around this time in week 12 after having that nasty knee injury. I think it was on a Monday night against Cincinnati. That tell him I haven't seen that late in the season, by the way. They bring in Hassan Reddick from the New York Jets, who didn't want to play for the Jets because he wanted to get paid more money, stuff like that. And they do bring back Levante David, they star linebacker, to continue to call that middle of that defense. So Tampa Bay's going to be a formidable bunch. The last time we faced off with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, it was 2002. That faithful, Tom Brady hits Mike Evans for a touchdown. They tie the game up. They come all the way back to tie the game up. And Matthew Stafford hits Cooper Kupp down the field for like a 50 or 60 something yard pass. We clock the ball. We bring in We bring in Greg Zerline. He kicks it in. No, it was Matt Gay. We bring in Matt Gay. He kicks the game-winning field goal. We knock off the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in Tampa to get to the NFC Championship game, which we go on to win the Super Bowl. That would be the 2021 season, but this game happened in 2022. That's what I'm telling you. That was our Super Bowl season. That's the last time we faced the Buccaneers. It was our Super Bowl season. We knocked off Tom Brady. Then we beat the 49ers, and then we knocked off Cincinnati to win the Super Bowl. So the last time we faced Tampa, it was a great thing to ever happen. It was one of the greatest things to ever happen because we finally beat Tom Brady, because we could never beat Tom Brady when his butt was in New England. But the 2 times we met Tom Brady when he was a Buccaneer, we got him twice. That will forever be my favorite moment thus far. We beat Tom Brady when it counted most. And then we beat San Francisco when it counted most too. So very great year. Very great year. And guess what? I see a repeat. I love Baker. You did good for us. He came in with just a sip of coffee and you knocked off the Saints. Or was it the Saints or the Raiders? One of the two. It was a Thursday night game, and we was able to get that win with you just having a sip of coffee. You didn't even get a chance to look at the playbook like that. But hey, I love you. You're going to come to SoFi Stadium, you're going to leave with an L. Yeah, you may leave off a game winning field goal. Who knows? But you're taking this L. Okay, so we moved to 8-3 on the season here after week 12 victory on the Sunday night. And then we go to Carolina. Oof. Trap game. If you're a college football fan, you know what I mean by that. Carolina Panthers was third in the NFC South, but 5-12 was abysmal, just abysmal. Bryce Young struggled early, came on late, completed just about 61% of his passes, throwing for over 2,400 yards with 15 touchdowns, 9 interceptions. Most of those damages was in the beginning of the season when then they benched him. Then the later part of the season they put him back in because Andy Dalton got hurt and he started to play much better. Chuba Herbert, great, one of the good backs, up and coming backs. Got to give him that. He's one of the good up and coming backs. 250 carries, almost 1,200 yards rushing with 10 rushing touchdowns. Adam Thielen, the leading receiver for the Panthers, 615 receiving yards on 48 catches, 5 receiving touchdowns. Xavier Leggett, almost 500 receiving yards on 49 catches with 4 receiving touchdowns. They got a lot of key things that they did to try to help bring this team up from the abysmal. They do bring in Christian Roseboom from us. We'll get to see him. Also, they did bring in Bobby Brown the third, so we'll get to see him again. Okay. They did bring in Rico Dotto, the running back from Dallas. They re-signed Tommy Tremble as their tight end to be their leading tight end. So they one of the main things that they did, they kept their corners. Michael Jackson, J.C. Horn. They kept their corners, which is gonna be very interesting because you're gonna need these corners to go against Puka Nakua and Devontae Adams, assuming that we can stay healthy. And I pray to God we stay healthy. Let us stay healthy. Please let us stay healthy. Because we stay healthy, we have a chance to win the Super Bowl. All right. Last time we met them was in 2022. And we beat them 24-10 in Los Angeles. Now we're going to Carolina. Nothing changes. We still beat them. They up and coming. They are proven. Bryce Young's starting to get the hang of it. I get all that. We going to Carolina. We go and handle business. We go beat them. And we come back home for our first matchup with the Arizona Cardinals. Now, before we get to this, I'm going to say this one more time. Arizona, to the Cardinals organization, we thank you for being so hospitable to let us have your home stadium for our playoff game against the Minnesota Vikings. Everything that was going on with the wildfires out in Los Angeles, out in California, the Arizona Cardinals, that was gracious enough to say, hey, y'all can use our stadium for your home playoff game against the Minnesota Vikings. They was able to very grateful and appreciative of the Cardinals organization for doing such a thing. Thank you. We appreciate it. Now, week 14 matchup in the desert in the same building. The Cardinals finished third in the NFC West. That was 8-9. Started off well, tied off at the end. Kyler Murray competed just about 69% of his passes. He's improving. 3,800 yards passing. He's improving. 21 touchdowns, 11 interceptions. He's improving. I will give him that. He is improving. So it could be a concern. He did have 572 rushing yards with 5 touchdowns. James Conner, 236 carries, almost 1,100 rushing yards with 8 touchdowns. He also had 414 receiving yards with a touchdown as well. The main star receiver was Trey McBride, they tight end, 111 receiving with 1,100 catches for over 1,100 receiving yards and 2 touchdowns. And then Marvin Harrison Jr. going into his second year as a pro. But his rookie year was very impressive. 62 catches, 885 receiving yards, 8 touchdowns with about a good battle them came against us. Key signings and additions: Dalvin Tomlinson, Josh Sweat, Say Jones. Interesting pieces on defense to buffer that defensive line, bringing another weapon for Kyler Murray to throw to. So Arizona's trying to improve. And remember, we went 1-1 with them because in week 2, when we went to that very building that we're going to in week 14, they beat the brace off of us in the first quarter. Marvin Harrison Jr. had over 100 yards receiving and 2 touchdowns in the first quarter. And we got our ass blown to smithereens, 41-10 by the Cardinals in Glendale. And then in week 17, the great week 17 last year. Defensive battle, 13-9 Rams, but more than that, with us winning that game, we took the division title from the Seattle Seahawks. That game right there in Los Angeles with a 13-9 victory over the Arizona Cardinals gave us the division title over the Seattle Seahawks. Obviously, some other things happened, like Washington beating the Falcons and Denver beating Cincinnati. Some other stuff happened, but we had to beat the Cardinals first. That was the first order of business, was to beat the Arizona Cardinals, which we did, and we ended up winning the division because of that. So, even though we split it, the second game meant a lot more because we got us the division title and we got to go to the playoffs. With that being said, I think we lose in Arizona, to be quite honest with you. I think we're losing. Because Arizona, honestly, I think at this point in time where all the changes that's going on within the division, it's a possibility that we're going to split with all 3. So we will beat. So I think we might be going 3-3 in our division just to keep it a buck with you, which kind of tells you what I'm going to do in the final preview show when we have our second meeting with both the Seahawks and the Cardinals. But I think that's what's going to happen. That's what I think that's going to happen because, I mean, I think the division is going to get better. I don't see the 49ers have the amount of injuries that they had last year, especially with one Chris McCaffrey. Kyler Murray is starting to get better. He's starting to look like a quarterback, an NFL quarterback. And even though Sam Darnold looked it bad against us in that playoff game, I still feel like he probably do quite well with the Seattle Seahawks. So it's gonna be an interesting division to watch. But 3-game winning streak before we take an L to the Arizona Cardinals. That would put us at 9-4 through 14 weeks. 9-4 through 14 weeks, 3-1 between the weeks 11 and 14, which will lead to one final week when we have weeks 15 through 18, which features the other matchup with the Cardinals and the Seahawks, and it also features a matchup with the Detroit Lions. We'll see how I think we finish the season. But 9-4 through 14 weeks puts us in prime position for the division title. Another playoff appearances. We'll see how we finish it up, and do we keep us hovering around that playoff spot? Thank y'all for tuning in again. Thank y'all for your support. Appreciate you tuning in for this episode of Ramily Talk. Always remember, follow us on the YouTube channel, Playmaker Blog YouTube channel. Hit that subscribe, hit that notification bell. Also, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, iHeartRadio, and wherever else you can find your podcasts at. Look for Ramily Talk. Subscribe, like, share, comment, however you want to do it. Doesn't matter. I appreciate you. Rams Nation, East Coast Station. Horns up every week. It's the Playmaker. Catch you later.